Hello, YouTube astrology lovers. This is Sangat. I'm an astrologer, and I'm here today to talk about the solar eclipse, which is a total solar eclipse occurring on July 2nd, 2019, at 10 degrees of Cancer. So, first of all, if you're not familiar with what is an eclipse astronomically, I recommend the Mr. Eclipse website. I'll put the link below in the description box. There in their website, you can even see a picture of a solar eclipse on the first page. But in summary, a solar eclipse happens when the moon passes between the sun and the earth, close to a lunar node, and eclipses or covers the sun. So the moon covers the sun light in such a way that for the duration the daylight becomes dark. So this one is a total solar eclipse, meaning that the total surface of the sun will be covered, but will only be seen fully in the southern hemisphere across the southern Pacific, Chile, Argentina, and Uruguay. So we can expect for sure that those countries will be directly affected by it. I'd say, especially Argentina, whose sun is at 17 degrees of Cancer, Mercury at 6 degrees of Cancer, Venus at 11 degrees of Cancer. So we're talking about the identity of the country, the communications, information, and Venus's values, probably monetary values. And Uruguay has Mercury at 7 degrees, again, communications, and the moon at 8 degrees of Cancer, which is the people. So, how the solar eclipse will affect us? In our personal lives, psychologically, the moon represents the unconscious mind and memories, and the sun represents the soul consciousness. Together, both are the lens through which we see the world and our existence in general. The fact that the moon, or the unconscious, eclipses or covers the sun, our consciousness, means that our hidden conditioning from the past and even from past lives comes to the surface and supersedes the conscious awareness. We are able to see what was hidden before. It has a fated flavor because of the close contact of the Sun Moon conjunction with the lunar node. So, and what is fate? We call fate whatever we don't understand the reason why it happens. Generally speaking, fate or karma is the unconscious conditionings playing out in our life, which appears as spontaneous reactions, right? We do things and we don't know why we do them. Or sometimes events coming from outside. Of course, they might be consequence of other people's actions and even other generations' actions. So those conditionings are related to what has happened behind the veil we crossed when we were born. They are experiences, actions we did, people we met and interacted with, and we forgot when we reincarnated. So the series of Cancer Capricorn eclipses started last summer with a solar eclipse at 20 degrees of Cancer on July 12th, 2018. This Cancer Capricorn eclipse season lasts until July 5th, 2020, with the last lunar, which means completion, eclipse in Capricorn. Uh, it means that we are working with the same evolutionary theme in different ways for about 2 years. So the degrees activated by this eclipse season are 20, 15th, 10, 24th, 10 again, 4, 0, and 13 in that order. So you may look at your own birth chart to locate those degrees and identify how the eclipses are affecting your life, or you can order a reading with me to find out. And the signs more affected are Cancer, where the eclipse takes place, Capricorn, opposite, and also the square signs, which are Aries and Libra. So if you have planets on those signs near those degrees, in this case, for this solar eclipse is 10 degrees. 10 degrees. Um, Eclipses have a cycle of 18 and a half years, meaning that they repeat approximately at the same degree. So last time we had a solar eclipse at 10 degrees Cancer was July 1st, 2000, and the lunar eclipse July 16th, 2000 at 24th degrees of Capricorn. Surprisingly, even the date is exact. So if you feel that what is happening now in your life is a deja vu kind of theme, it's because it is. Only now it may be higher in the evolutionary spiral of your life. Situations, circumstances, events, and people related to your personal theme may resonate with what happened in 2000 or even 18 years before then, if you were alive around 1982. Okay, so eclipses, this is something astrologers have observed and correlated for thousands and thousands of years with themes in society and personal life. The repetition of the eclipse cycle allows us to understand, process, and develop the particular evolutionary theme according to the zodiac house where it falls on our personal chart, right? If you compare with previous cycles, you can see a pattern clearly defined in your life. So a theme might repeat, but at different levels, maybe. So is it fate, or do we have free will? So this is how I see it. Every time we incarnate, we are born with our own plan, usually as a consequence of previous soul evolution. The plan is written in our birth chart. We are free to take the challenge or not, but every repetition of the theme gives us the opportunity to further our evolution. If we resist it, the evolutionary urge could become more intense every time. Considering Pluto and Saturn participation in our present particular eclipse cycle, we can find ourselves in a pressure cooker kind of a situation, especially because Pluto has a power out of our control. We're not able to deny or elude what he is suggesting, quote unquote. In fact, his suggestion is a kind of atomic power or volcanic eruption that is able to transmute us into a new form. This is why his work is often referred to as a phoenix coming back to life from the ashes, or death and rebirth. So I'll wait until the lunar eclipse, July 17th, when the moon will conjoin Pluto. That's going to be really intense. Saturn, on the other hand, suggests some kind of separation, renunciation, or sacrifice, particularly because of the South Node has also a draining effect. So the aspects that the new moon form, the new moon conjoins, of course, the North lunar node and opposes the South lunar node because they're always on an axis. So the South lunar node now is sandwiched in between Saturn and Pluto, and they are both retrograde. So, by the way, during this eclipse season, we have um, 4 and 5 planets retrograde. There is Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, and Neptune on the solar eclipse, and adding Mercury, which will start his retrograde on July 7th. So there will be 5 planets retrograde for the lunar eclipse. Pluto has been in Capricorn decomposing and recycling the content of our Capricorn zodiac house. You can find general information in my written blog. I'll put the link down in the description box for this video. So, the south node of the moon breaks us free from our deepest and conscious patterns of behavior and conditioning coming from past situation and even from this or from previous lives. The memories are related to fear, abandonment, separation, which is Saturn, obsessive desires, and sexual and life and death traumas, which is Pluto. So remember that Saturn ate his children, which mythologically symbolizes our adulting process over time. Saturn was also Kronos, the god of time. With the South Node, we're leaving behind childish behavior, outmoded life structures, particularly those marked by the zodiac house where Saturn is transiting in your own chart. If it is, for example, Capricorn falls in your 4th house, then it's about home, family, your emotional body. And even unconscious programming, also called karma, and past life unfinished business, right? All those are drained by the South Node. And Saturn, now retrograde, is taking review of old decadent structures of conditioned responsibilities, discipline, and reality. When Saturn comes back direct September 18th, 2019, he will have a new plan, new structures to rebuild that area of your life. In fact, Saturn supports very gracefully the spiritual work Neptune is doing for us in Pisces, helping us materialize it and bring it into our daily reality. I have another written blog with this Neptune Jupiter square and Neptune sextile Saturn that you can read. I'll put the link below also. The transformation this eclipse season operates is applied to the events taking place in the area of your life where Cancer falls in your chart. So suppose it is the 10th house, okay? It's about your reputation in the world. It's about your career, and authority figures, for example. It could be about your father. Because this new moon happens on the north node, um, the new moon, it's a new beginning, right? It will initiate and add something or enhance that area with something that will have a positive incident or impact for the next 18-year cycle. So the planet that has most aspects in and has a stellar performance in the solar eclipse sky is Uranus. So, in addition, if you are an Aquarius child, Uranus is your ruler, then this eclipse is affecting you even more. The Sun and Moon sextile Uranus. Mercury and Mars square Uranus. And Mercury and Mars in Leo trine Chiron in Aries. So Uranus revolt in Taurus is about shocking changes to implement revolutionary physical, sexual, and material values. So for example, as I said before, the new electronic or virtual money, um, and new values related to earth, to agriculture, etc. His soft relationship, so Uranus, soft relationship with the solar eclipse, indicates a smooth acceptance of this new beginning. So, personally, for example, an unexpected event, meeting an unorthodox individual or a sudden creative insight is an opportunity to totally change our life. So we need to take that opportunity because the sextile is not a challenging energy, is more of a free flow opportunity that we can take advantage of. But the stressful interaction of Uranus with Mercury, with a little push from Mars, though, makes for a clever stimulation of our mental ability and activity that can electrically trigger a surprise assertive decision or an impulsive communication. So Mars adds passion to the mix and in certain cases can be violent. Depending on your personal chart, the addition of Mars energy can relate to an unexpected conversation about sexual issues, for example, an assertive statement regarding your gender preferences, or an erotic relationship with your partner, something like that. So Mars is passion, initiative, and especially in Leo, is very dramatic and sometimes a show off. At the same time, Mercury and Mars, it almost trine Chiron. The trine is not exact, but it means that whatever the Uranus, Mercury, Mars trigger is, it will soon, when the trine becomes exact in late July, and then for Mercury, it's going to be in August. It will bring a healing to our sense of inadequacy or uneasiness, or to our ability to assert our own individuality in that area of life occupied by Aries. So, for example, if Chiron falls in Aries in your seventh house, so the theme is about sustaining appropriate relationships. If Chiron falls on your third house, is about appropriate communication or appropriate thinking. Um, So I'm going to put the link below to another blog post that I wrote about the Chiron activation in June. So in that blog, there are several aspects that Chiron makes, and you can read more about that. So, in summary, the solar eclipse energy is very powerful and unavoidable. Events can come from outside. However, it is up to our level of conscious awareness the way we can use them for our advantage, the way we use the energy, and the way we respond to those events. So, the best way is to accept whatever comes and use it for our development, for our spiritual growth. So the consequences and our future depend on the choices and actions that we take. The more aware we are, the better. Hence, the need for us not to take the eclipse as just an event to watch for its magnificence, but rather to take time to retreat, to reflect, to ponder, to meditate, and set priorities and goals for a happier, wiser, and more loving life. And with, as I mentioned, several planets in retrograde mode, reflection is favored. So, if we are tired of the repeating patterns modality in our lives, the eclipse season is a great time to unstuck ourselves and make progress. So, as I said, events may be powerful. Um, there might be losses, they might be trauma, and they also might be gains and improvements, and they might be good things coming to our lives that may be challenging. But it's important to take the challenge and use it for the best. So, blessings and much love to you. I'll see you next time. If you would like to have a personal reading, please contact me at the email listed in the description box. And I wish you the best. Goodbye now.